Like that. All right, I'm gonna call to order the Emergency Services Facilities Building Committee at 6:00 p.m. 13 February 2025. President are Marco, Tulis, Snyder, Knight, Minkowski, Kelleher, Gantic, and I think we're gonna be joined and
Alex is.
yeah, and I was told that Mike McCool's gonna be online, and maybe we'll see others too. Okay, so
We could, if Mike's not on yet,
I won't,
why don't we take James or Mike?
no, we'll see, all right,
I'll make a motion to do that.
all right.
Second it.
We have, the motion's been made and seconded to seat James Knight for Mike McCool, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so moved.
And when Mike comes in, you're automatically unseated.
Correct. All right. We have a lot of minutes to approve. Well, didn't we're just saying some of them haven't been posted yet?
Yes, the August 22nd ones and the January 23rd have not been posted to the page.
Okay. How do we want to?
Do we all have them? We all should have them.
I sent them to you guys, so.
Yeah, I sent it
Yeah,
out to everybody.
Peter Letitsis says joined us at 6:01. Peter.
There you go, Mike's there.
And Mike McCool is,
I don't think it matters. And Mike might be able to confirm this. Whether they've been posted or not, if all of the committee members
I'll
have
see
the
that.
minutes, then we should be able to act on it.
like right now,
Right?
tonight.
Yeah.
All right, so where do we start?
No,
Let's get it out of the way.
Mike is unmuted. It's still
Okay,
muted.
no, it's still muted, all right. Do we really want, can we postpone this just because we only have 45 minutes? I don't want to spend 15 minutes approving minutes, so.
Well, we could do it.
If the Board of Finance is upstairs, then we don't, well, I guess people usually wanted to go to it.
Well, there's people here that are gonna be up there.
Yeah, right, so.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just offer, I
Please.
came in at the end of that, but I think, because of the same conversation happened last night with CIP, because of the agenda getting out late with the Zoom link, it sort of puts some of the public access into a little bit of a challenge, since that's required to be 48 hours. So what CIP did last night was they did an informational meeting and they didn't take any official actions.
I like that.
But that way they could at least get all the information shared.
That's, I think that's exactly what we should do as well.
Okay.
But the Zoom link should have been out there ahead of time anyway, so, right? No, maybe not.
Well, the Zoom link is constant for the year.
So I thought we.
Yeah, I think we maybe should do a little more research. I do have the PowerPoint from Russell Blair from FOIA. I will get that. It's too big to email out, but I'll find a way to get it to everybody.
So that's good. In light of what Mr. Ku just said, we won't be voting on anything tonight. We're not gonna make any motions. So this will just be an informational meeting, really a prep for our for the upcoming kickoff with our consultant. So I guess, should we not even do present to speak then, or just move on?
Well, they did do present to speak last night. If that gives you any guide, it's up to you.
I don't see anybody online. Then, all right, present to speak. If anybody in the room or anybody online would like to speak,
Raise your hand.
please raise your hand. I don't see any, so we're gonna move on. Since this is a very short meeting, let's move right on to new business. I want to start off with a quote that I found kind of interesting. Unspoken expectations are premeditated resentments. Unspoken expectations are premeditated resentments. So whatever we expect from this consultant, we should know ahead of time and make sure that if it wasn't in the proposal. Then let's make sure that we're vocal about it when we're talking to him about what we expect to get. And I'll just start off, I don't have my expectation for the proposal is to find out for sort of a professional. Yet unbiased and unvarnished opinion about where Wellington Firehouses should be and what type of equipment should be in them. I'm not really worried, I'm less concerned about he might have to say about staffing because we have professionals that know how to staff that. So that's not, I don't need his input, but anyways, that's pretty much the extent of it. And I've reread this several times and I like what he has to say, so I'm confident that what he has to say, what the consultant outlined is gonna answer what I expect to get out of it. But that's a very high level view, because I don't know enough about the intricacies of how the departments function. And I'm sure all of you have different expectations, so whatever those are, when we're talking to the person, let's be very candid about what we expect. Because if we don't ask for it, we won't get it, and then somebody's gonna be pissed off about it, and nobody needs that, so.
Well, I think also a lot of our next steps, based on the charge, are going to depend on what the consultant recommends
Exactly.
for emergency services. CIP is going to be pushing us, and Board of Finance is going to be pushing us for the kind of expenditures we would expect in this coming fiscal year.
Yes.
Which is why, from my perspective, confirming or establishing the locations for the firehouses is kind of critical to trying to get a handle on money needs
Absolutely.
for the coming fiscal year. Because if we're gonna dive into, if our locations are fine, then we should be considering diving in with a design as we get more information from Pitch. And getting an owner's project manager on board to help us get through the design and the costing of whatever buildings come out of this. I'm not in a hurry to spend that money on another consultant, but I think at some point that is going to be helpful. My thoughts.
Yeah, and it seems to be, there's an awful lot of chatter about facilities management between Board of Finance, CIP, and even in the selectmen's office, so,
And Board of Ed.
and Board of Education. So it seems that without that, I think involving facilities, that's gonna come up, so. Whether I think it's a great idea or not is irrelevant. So anyway,
My hope for our next meeting is that Steve Knight can kind of give us a timeline for his deliverables. And I kind of want to nudge him towards the buildings first, if that makes sense. As far as location, as far as the actual content of the building, that's something that's going to evolve, I guess the process goes on.
The last comment struck me in a peculiar way, Ralph. The content of the buildings will come later.
Location first. And then what are the needs for the contents of the building? What kind of space? For what? Besides apparatus.
I guess what I'm thinking is what Andy just said in an abstract sense, this consultant coming from the outside. He's gonna look at our square mileage as a town. He's gonna look at where these buildings should be sited. And he's gonna look at how much apparatus capability we need
Right.
for our town. So I would think that works well, and he would be kind of giving that to us as an outsider based on his knowledge as a fire professional. I would hope that the buildings kind of reflect what equipment we need. I guess is what my thought process is.
yeah, Stuart, what,
Just keep in mind, Peter, the firehouses, fire stations, whatever you wanna call them, are much more than a garage.
Yes.
20
absolutely.
years ago, 40 years ago, it was a garage. You parked the truck in it, that's all it
Well,
had.
you're absolutely right.
There's so many functions that go on. you know, for training, record keeping, office space, you know.
OSHA compliance.
Whatever it would be.
OSHA compliance, yeah. Oh, that's good.
And so it isn't just how many, you gotta fit 4 trucks in here or 3 trucks or whatever it is. And that's
Absolutely.
the square footage you need.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a whole multitude of functions that
There
goes
are.
on in these buildings.
Well,
And that's kind of what I was referring to when I was talking about content of the building.
yeah, I always talk about staffing. I mean,
Staffing,
staffing, that's totally,
that's on the
Yeah.
shoulders of the
I mean,
departments.
in the first, or the second page of his outline, he goes, he meets with everybody. Fire chiefs, designers, town administrators, selectmen, board of finance, zoning. And economic development. So I thought that was pretty good that he recognized that all of those parties in Wellington are stakeholders. I thought that was good. I don't think they're necessarily CIP and board of finance. I think those are sort of. Those support, those two are ancillary that support. Obtain an understanding of each individual organization. And the effect on service delivery. Gather required response data for historical community needs. Assess growth and location of future risks that may affect the geographic relationships. Apply information to existing locations. And determine percentage of need that is covered, distance, time, and then he speaks to, what could be covered with the existing facilities, if possible. And then prepare and present a summary of findings, so as I read that, it sounds like his focus or his method is to get a whole lot of information up front. Before he gets into, before that, I should say, team. So, which makes, that seems logical, that seems like a logical progression to me. You were saying, Ralph, that he thinks that buildings become, that location becomes more important, I don't know how. As I read that, I'm expecting him to have to follow that linear path in order to get.
I'm not challenging his sequence as
Okay.
he wrote it.
Right,
Okay, all I'm saying is, from a financial perspective, it would behoove us to get a handle on that as quickly as.
let's,
Fitch can
as
help
we
us do
can,
that.
okay,
And we should see how long he's gonna take altogether.
Right.
He's gonna take 2 months, I mean, we can figure that out, we don't have to rush anything, 2 months is understandable, you know, but if he's gonna take 6 months. Then we might wanna get a handle on
yeah, so that's a good
some
point,
expenses first, you
Yeah.
know, but I don't think we should nudge him in any direction
I
at
agree.
all.
yeah. What, so how do we want this meeting to go? What,
Is he, are we meeting with him next week? Next meeting?
27th.
27th of February, it's
Vote for
gonna,
that one, okay.
gonna be a Zoom meeting,
Well, I'm hoping for in person. I reached out to him today, but I haven't got an answer,
okay.
whether it's Zoom or in person.
Zoom or in person, we should have some sort of a structure to it, I don't know. I mean, we are his customer, so if he's gonna be customer facing, he's gonna be more wanting us to do most of the talking, because that's normally what you do. But I also think that he's kind of a customer of ours, so I want him to do a lot of the talking. But I don't really know, I don't have any notions about how we should structure this meeting.
Well,
And
how prepared is he in terms of, does he have the location of our existing fire stations? Does he have the equipment list of all the apparatus we
he
have?
hasn't asked for any information from me.
If he doesn't have that,
No,
how much can we
And
ask
we
him?
can only assume he's looking it over right now, I mean.
Has he been paid the initial 25%?
they didn't.
That's like,
We haven't- Just pick up.
due on execution of the contract, is in, a per the contract is
Good point.
25%.
Right,
It's been signed, right?
it's been signed,
Has
but
he
he hasn't
invoiced
delivered
it?
anything yet.
Well, I know, but it says like, first 25% due on execution,
Yeah,
so that's the signing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is he waiting for payment to like start research?
very good
Is he
question.
gonna tell us at this meeting, has he invoiced for that? So if he hasn't invoiced for it,
I don't think I've seen an actual
like,
invoice.
would he be sending, like, who do we?
Right, good question. I'll find out.
Did you send the contract back to him?
Yeah, well, I didn't personally, but it was done through the selectmen's
And
office.
it probably should have been sent with a check.
Or is he sending an invoice? It says like
That's
due
just-
upon,
That's what the contract said.
yeah.
Right, but yeah, I don't know if we are expecting an invoice. I don't know what the business office, I'll ask tomorrow.
That'd be a good question.
It mentions both, it mentions both paying an invoice within 30 days and also 25% due upon execution.
Something like that.
So if he hasn't sent an invoice, then but.
But he might be waiting for the kickoff.
Maybe.
Too. I mean, he's done a lot of these. It's not
Has he signed the contract?
Yes, they both signed it. I was talking about Peter Tanaka and he signed it. Wasn't notarized or anything. though. Had to be.
Andy?
Yeah.
Um, I'm just kind of guessing, but based on reading all of the proposals that we received, it seems fairly similar between all the consultants when they describe their work plan, that nothing really official happens until the kickoff, that they really see the kickoff as the opportunity to be sort of the meet and greet, establish expectations. I think we need to be prepared to answer initial questions. We should be prepared with some of our own initial questions ourselves.
Yes.
But I think I am assuming that it's going to be framed by their expertise in they know what they need to get kicked off. And so I'm assuming they're going to sort of moderate how that flows. And then we'll just go from there. And then I'm guessing we'll all have homework assignments immediately after that.
I would expect so.
Well, I can reach out to Steve Knight and see if he's got a rough agenda for how he wants to present to us.
Or
Yeah.
or ask him, what do you want us to have ready?
Yeah,
That too.
that's, yeah, that's a good idea.
And if there's some basic information we can provide ahead of time,
Sure.
would be an effort to speed the
That's what I was
process
saying
up.
before.
Instead
Very
of
good.
waiting 3 weeks.
Yep.
And then go, oh, what do you want for data? Maybe there's some of that, like you said, homework
Right,
we
right,
can do
right.
now. And it may be something as simple as, you know, the description of each of the apparatus in town. You know, does he want call data at this point or no?
Yeah,
So on,
I-
what format do they need that in?
I know, yeah, well, I guess like, best thing we can do is ask him and see what he'd like for this kickoff meeting, and like I say, maybe the kickoff meeting is just that, that's kind of starts. That's really the first deliverable, it's the meeting, right now, it's just all on paper, but well, that's. And so, but just make sure that if you read through it, if there was something that you did not see that we want to learn, make sure we get that out now. Like I said, I've read it a couple of times and it looks great to me, but I'm not the professional.
As far as the committee makeup goes, any questions or concerns from the committee should funnel through one person, so we're not. It should all go through a chair, I would think.
I don't want to ask all the questions.
No, but I mean, questions from the group.
Yeah, well. We can certainly moderate. Ellie, are you gonna be able to be there at that meeting?
Yeah,
All right, you take excellent notes, so.
Thank you.
This one will be.
Big time.
A really good one.
Okay.
Take your most excellent.
Okay, thank you.
So that's great. All right, so what do we wanna do for this meeting? What do we have to, how's it gonna look? Should we? Well, if he comes in person, it would be different than if he's gonna be online. So what?
And you're looking at number 6, which is kind of 1 through 7.
Yep,
Applying information gathered to existing locations, general condition of station. Can we send him a map of Wellington, where the stations are, the size of the building? Do we have that?
You might already know that.
he might already know that. I mean, it's public knowledge. He can look it up.
Okay.
I mean, you can look up the, and I mean, he seems very well versed. When I was talking to some of his references, you know, one of the guys I called, that he's kind of biased because he went to work for them. He was a fire chief up in Minnesota or something in Michigan, and he went to work for Fitch. Because he liked them so much when they worked in his town, that he became part of the Fitch team.
Okay.
So,
If he has all this data.
you know, I mean, even what they wrote about, the fact he was the only one that recognized there were 2 departments. So clearly he did some research even before he sent the proposal. So, yeah, but again, I don't want to lead the witness too much, so, but I think we can ask him what he wants and I'm too people to tell us.
Just ask him if there's anything in his ones.
Right.
Yeah,
But do you think? Sorry, go ahead.
I think if Ralph reaches out and says, what do you want us to be ready for the first meeting?
Right.
What is the agenda to make sure we're accommodating him? That's probably going to give us good guidance. And then Ralph can send that out to the group and saying, here's what you should be expecting for the first meeting. We can all have our brains prepared for that.
Okay, that
And
makes
then
sense.
we need to be ready to hit the ground running.
I agree. That sounds good. And then it won't matter if it's in online or in person, we'll just be doing it slightly differently. Excellent.
In person is always better, but
I think so. I think so. All right,
In his contract, is he scheduled to come out here physically at all?
visit, yes, in his, yeah, he outlined that they do on-site visits, it's not all virtual.
I just weren't clear as to whether or not it would be the kickoff meeting, it would be here in person, or whether when he's data gathering and interviewing
I feel like
stakeholders.
if we have to choose, then that would be the better one for him to come here for, is not the kickoff.
Yeah, right,
If we're
right,
paying, if we're paying for an extra site visit, like, let's not,
yeah, right.
right, for the
Totally
kickoff.
agree.
He said, I mean, in his proposal, it was all visits were included in the proposal price, so travel and all that wasn't factored in, so.
I think this
Well,
one will be Zoom. That's my guess.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
expect
probably.
so, I would expect so. And if we can have it in this room, that's good, I think, because the owl seems to function the best here. Acoustics are a little bit better than upstairs, maybe.
As long as 2 or 3 people aren't talking over each other.
We do have to be mindful,
Right.
that's an important piece,
Because that little device picks up too much.
yes, it does. All right, so. On our agenda. Because we're on new business, prepare summary of topics for an agenda for a kickoff meeting with Fitch and Associates, and I think what I heard that we have agreed that we will reach out to the consultant and to what he's looking for the meeting and his agenda, that will help us form our agenda. We'll launch kind of off of that. Confirm scope of tasks for Fitch and Associates, so we're gonna make sure that all of those things that are in the proposal are on track, I suppose, and then the outline of our anticipated schedule, I guess that could be, that will be probably quite a significant part of the conversation, is that when can we expect things?
And when does he expect to be able to deliver?
Right, when does he expect to be able to deliver those? I don't think he's seen the committee charge, but we should share that with him as part of what is under new business. Review the committee charge to summarize tasks, not in this scope. I don't have any qualms about sharing it with him.
It's public information.
It's public
It's on our
information,
webpage.
so if we share that charge, maybe some of those things come out organically within his studies and he can speak to some of those things within our charge. Confirmation of existing facility locations, station recommendations, apparatus and budgetary. That's what. I guess that's what we have to make sure that we're gonna get out of it. Did you wanna go up?
Yeah, I think it's just appropriate if we have some idea of a timeline of the financial
Yes.
needs to continue the committee's work in fiscal year 25-26.
Right.
The sooner we can get that in front of the powers that be with respect to the money, the better.
Right.
And I want to get stonewalled if we have to go to Board of Finance on the spur of the moment to ask for another 50 grand or something.
You're right.
That's all.
So the limitation on the 200,000 that's in CIP now, I believe, was determined to be planning money only.
Planning, engineering, design, analysis. I combed through the minutes from CIP going back a couple of years and Board of Finance, and I couldn't find an exact reference where they bucketed the 200,000, but everything they talked about was engineering, design, analysis, not anything physical.
Will that unspent money, assuming there's unspent money at the end of this fiscal year, will that automatically carry over? Or will it be returned?
As I understand that, yes, it's still in the bank. We spent 40, we should have 160 left. In fact, Mike, I was gonna ask, in one of the recent CIP meetings, I think it was James Marshall, or somebody on the committee had talked about that it cost 60 to, it was 80 through 60 that the school building committee spent on some preliminary engineering plans or?
The school building committee, if my numbers are correct in my head, and Pete Latinchich may be able to confirm this, I believe the school building committee got 2 allocations of $100,000 each.
Oh,
The second one came after they used the first 100,000, and they used we'll just say roughly 40 of the second 100,000. So about roughly 140 was spent over the 2.5 years, maybe. And a lot of that was the owner's project manager. And some of it was some things like site engineering, environmental review of the proposed piece of land, things like that. All the same kind of stuff we're talking about.
that's what I was, right, that's what I was thinking, so.
Yeah,
The prices probably have changed a bit, but I bet we could be fairly comfortable with 150,000, 160,000 could get us into a comfortable place fairly quickly.
Mike, do you remember what we spent on the schematics for both options? On the school building committee?
you know, I don't remember the number. There's for some crazy reason there's $28,000 is in my head, but I don't know where I came up with that.
All right, but I mean, at least we have some money that we could throw at that, which would probably be enough to get something started, maybe not finished, but. Which I think is
It's nice
good.
to get to the point where we're ready to put a shovel in the ground and get the financing for that
Yeah,
portion.
yeah, I mean, they keep floating this $13 million bond for public safety, so that's on the CIP and. That's a big chunk of money, so, it gets talked about quite a bit.
It's pretty clear that this study is desired by a lot of people in town, particularly Board of Finance, and it really gives us an opportunity to open new communication with the public.
Yes, it
And,
does.
you know, and see what the public's interest is in understanding the problem and funding solutions. And a lot of that's gonna happen before we can talk about a $13 million bond or whatever.
I know.
You know, we're gonna
Yeah.
have those earlier conversations, and
Absolutely.
study will be a big factor in that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's premature to establish any pricing level at this point.
Oh, me too, I just keep,
For buildings?
I just kept hearing that, it's brought up in the last CIP meeting that I said. Not the one last night, but.
What's analogous to the SBC is when we started looking at footprints of buildings and square footage, and that kind of led us in a direction of the cost. At this point, we don't know that,
Right.
and we need to see that, we need our consultants' input.
Well, what else we have to talk about? Just really, we wanna be ready for the consultant, that's all, so
That's primarily what.
that's why we're here tonight. Cause we wanna make sure we get everything we want out of it. Anybody?
Good.
Alright, so. I know everybody's got other meetings to go to.
Yeah. And we could have started at 6:30, we didn't.
Only try.
If we did that, we would have run late.
Was that?
If we did that, we would have run late.
Exactly right.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, you're right, sir.
Like you don't put the plow on the truck, you know it's gonna snow. As soon as you put the plow on, it doesn't snow. It's like, oh, just good to know. Alright, so. Shall we adjourn?
Wait, President to speak?
Oh, present to speak. Is there anybody that wanna go? I do see, we have another join. Mr. Marshall has joined us. I didn't notice when he did.
Yeah, he snuck in.
I didn't see him. Is there anybody here that would like to speak under present to speak? Hearing none. Next meeting is 27th February 2025. This will be the kickoff meeting with Fitch and Associates. It will be a public meeting, and we'd love to have a full committee if everybody can make it. It will be at the normal 6:30 time, and I assume in this room, if it's virtual,
If we don't conflict with anybody else, yeah.
if we don't conflict with anybody else.
And I'll research that.
All right, and. Yeah. So,
I move we adjourn.
I hear a motion to adjourn. We have a second?
Second.
Oh, all in favor? Motion.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks for coming.
All right.
Stop recording. Perfect.